Welcome to the Readin', Writin', and Readers Club workshop. In this section we will talk about some of the steps you can take to improve your book reviews. First we will discuss some of our tips and then we will look at a sample review. First, only review books you've enjoyed. Writing book reviews is so much easier when you're writing about a book that you truly liked. If the review isn't coming easily to you, put it aside for a day and come back to it with a fresh set of eyes. Remember that Readers Club only posts positive reviews of books. Make the most of your vocabulary. You only have 100 to 125 words, so make sure you're hitting the most important points. Describe your book as concisely as you can. Don't give anything important away. Describe, don't summarize. This means that you want to describe what the book is about, but you do not want to rehash the entire plot. Think of your review as a teaser. You don't want to leave the reader feeling like he or she has already read the book just based on reading your review. Be aware of spelling and grammar. Use spell check and do your own proofreading before you submit your reviews. You also want to keep the elements of appeal in mind. You can't include everything in a short review, so choose the elements of appeal that are most important, such as pacing, setting, or characterization. For more information on the elements of appeal, check out the Anatomy of a Book Review portion of our workshop. Make sure your review has a clear beginning, middle, and end so that it will make sense to your reader. You might also want to reread your review. Put it aside for a day or so, then pick it up and read it again. You'll likely find a better way to write a sentence, an adjective you didn't think of the first time, or another way to improve what you've written. Most of all, have fun. If you really enjoyed a book, try to let that show through in your review. Now that we've talked about some of our tips, let's look at an example. First, I'll read a bad review of The Princess Diaries by Meg Cabot. As I read the review, see if you can spot some of the areas that need to be edited. So I read this book and it's like, whoa, this is awesome. This is a cool story about a geeky girl named Mia, just for the record, geeks rock, and she is a wallflower. No boyfriend, geeky friend, hates math and is flunking it. But she confides all her troubles in her journal that she carries around, and then she finds out she's the princess of a small country. She has to rule or else the country will be taken over by, like, probably France, and so she has to take awful princess lessons with her grand-mère who sounds like an older, snottier, and European Joan Rivers. And then she also has a crush on her BF's hunky older bro. Obviously she has some things to deal with, so I would say that for any girls who are looking for a fun read to realize that your life is good, read this. Some of the things that I've noticed, I noticed that the review is a bit long at 154 words. Also, although the reviewer clearly has a grasp of the teen audience and is likely a teen themselves, the language is a little too casual for Readers Club. Phrases like BF's older bro, their use of the word like, and even using an emoticon would not work on Readers Club. We also see some spelling, grammar, and punctuation errors. The flow of the review is also awkward with no clear beginning, middle, and end. No review is perfect, but let's look at a better review of the same book. This review is actually from our Readers Club website, so this is the kind of review we're looking for. Mia was living a normal life in New York City with her mom. Well, as normal as you can when your mother is dating your algebra teacher and that happens to be a class you're failing, and your best friend Lily is constantly analyzing your life. Mia's life takes a turn when her dad comes to visit. He has some important news to tell her. She's a princess and next in line to the throne of Genovia. As if life as a high school freshman wasn't bad enough. One day you were just a freshman freak at Albert Einstein High School, the next a princess on the cover of the New York Post. Life will never be the same. To get a glimpse of life as a teenage princess, just read Mia's diary. Can you see how the second review is better? Although it's also a little long, it conveys the same ideas and appeals to a teen audience without sounding too adult. It also has a better flow, giving the reader a much clearer description of the book. So we've discussed some of our tips for improving book reviews, and we've looked at an example of a good and bad review. Now it's your turn to practice. Once you get the hang of writing reviews for Readers Club, you'll find that you have your own unique style. We look forward to sharing the great books that you've read.